I should make sure my microphone's unmuted this time. That was embarrassing 2 streams ago. Viva Pantanal and Viva Pantanal. Requirements. Copy and we paste. Copy and we're going to paste, and then we'll go to the Froggy Forest and we're going to paste. Tab polls live. I don't know if people are still on, but we are doing a random oh, well, hello. Fancy making it in. I'm just posting all the things. We are posed right in front of what should be a very lovely sign for our next section of Viva Pantanal, a South American themed section. Oh, apparently I got a bump. That is interesting. Advanced level 1. Cool. Let's see, where else do I need to post this, just because otherwise I'm going to forget. I still can't believe they put my friend Ruby in. Okay, got that there. We're going to post this here. So the goal tonight is we're going to finish up building the little plaza we have just around the corner over here. We're going to decorate it, make it look pretty. And then we're going to start placing animals and making a fun place to actually look at across the zoo. But we need to see where else I need to post links, because there's so many places and I don't have a bot to do it. I do it myself by hand. And I never remember if I miss somebody. But it's okay. We're just gonna rock and roll and see what goes and strolls. Okie dokie. I appreciate you coming in. Let's go ahead and get building. So, for those who aren't familiar, this is the Southport Zoo. And we're just kind of doing a globe themed and then going by like regions of the world. This area is where we started. We have our very fun little reptile house over here, which is admittedly one of the guests' favorites. But like the options, the reptile house right now and our flamingo garden. So I would say, I guys think the tickets are overpriced. Yeah, no, there's a reason I didn't want to bump them in the first place. But we were working on making this plaza a little bit more interesting. I think what I'm going to do is emulate what I did over there. Give the building a little more pop, a little more pizzazz. Because as it stands, well, the blue plaster's fine. It just needs a little more, you know what I mean? Plaster wall. Oop, that one's not in the right spot. We're going to do this. And then we do the inevitable wall shuffle, because it's always a wall shuffle when it comes to textures being funky. And sometimes it's just you gotta split them off from the group and be like, oh hey, right, we've put something into you. But sometimes it's a fight. Alright. Yeah, I had a feeling this might have been what happened, but you know. And we do that. Alright, because the roof corners usually need this. So the set that the roofs are from, while they technically match the clay tiles that are used in the Pantanal, are from an East Asian set. So that's why I'm like, where's the trim? The answer is you normally manually put in the trim. We'll see if we can find something later. And we're going to duplicate. And there we go. So far, so good. And it might not be much of an upgrade for Viva Pantanal, but you know what? It's a nice little one. Clementine, we're going to move you, like... You know what? It's fine. You can hang out down there. But we will see who is available, who wants to vibe, and who's not, but it's not a worry. We're just building a zoo. Now... We're going to continent South America. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for some trees and some planting that we can do. to help make this stand out a bit more. Maybe not something as big as a Brazil nut tree, perhaps, but something that makes this feel a little less, you know, like, oh, here's just this blank wall. And we'll edit this building here in a little bit to make it blend in a little better too. So we got a yellow, a green, and a blue. Let's see. And here's where the habitats are going to be. We have over here a rough area for otters, giant otters, caimans. Over here's where the Maine wolves are going to go. Bush dogs are planned for over here, jaguars, and then giant anteaters and tapirs. So if we get there tonight, we will have some very fun things to see. That giant rhubarb is way too large and hides the building too much. So maybe we'll save that for the bush dogs. Because the goal is to make it. I don't know if I ever got that pet cafe set up, but we're not going to worry about it too much. We also don't want to clip this into the building. Make sure it's not, yep, we're good. This just gives it a little more texture, so if we have some bigger plants in the middle is okay. Tamarind trees. And then we'll change the terrain down here to like some light soil. I think we should build like a fountain structure, because like, so what we have so far is we got, this is the restrooms. We'll put some signage on them here in a bit. We have the reptile house. There's a restaurant you can sit out and eat. Thoughts. Maybe build like a little gift shop section here. And go on and just figure it out. Construction. So if we're going to build a fountain, let's see, we go to fountains. Oh, it's still on the plaster filter, that's why. Are these the most appropriate? Probably not. They're stone fountains. Do I like them? Yes. The North African nature scene is fun, but not what we're looking for here. So we build a fountain. I think it'd be fun to have some otters here. Oh, we'll go the concrete to match better, not that bronze. And we'll do like a playful one here. And I think what we'll do is we will get the fountain once we clear out otter. We'll start building it up a bit. Maybe not this big one. It's a pinch stack. It's a stack square. Cap. Oh, you can build some massive fountains. I always forget how big the fountains you can build are. So we do like a stack. And then we do... we submerge this in. And then we do a big old basin at the top here. Set it on top. But then we get into the special effects. This might be taller than every building, so maybe we take that top one off. You know what I mean? And we do just centerpieces. Maybe we just do it like that. And then we do a water. Like you can do like underwater bubbles and such when you insert them in. But I think... if we sync this just right, and then we alternate its rotation, you all can't decide if the zoo's worth the money or not. It's a little annoying. Oh well, I was duplicating. Oopsies. And we alternate it. Yeah. Why are you going to do that again? 1 second. But then we go back to the construction. And we add this to here. And you can do it. We'll do like waterfalls and stuff, but that'll be in the actual habitat. But now we have a little bit of a fountain, you know, something fun for guests to admire. Let's go take a... I think we need to add some benches. And what we'll do is we'll build a small little gift, like some of like the up front kiosks here against the path. Theme it into the red color and then just go from there. That way we have most of your primary colors built and represented. And then you can stand here and be like, oh, look at this lovely overlook into the giant otters. Or we have this closed off from the overlook into the giant otters. Whichever makes more sense. Cool. Guests like the American flamingo and the green iguana. But yeah, so this is based off the Pantanal region of South America, which is one of the world's largest wetlands known, and has a wide variety of South American fauna. One of the high appeal points, which we're still trying to build and design a little bit into a false facade here, which will have some like beams below so that when you walk the path you can see it. Many of the buildings there are built on stilts as to avoid being flooded, because it can reach up in certain places and the wet season like 15 to 20 feet higher than the base ground is, because it's a massive wetland. So we're looking for some appropriate benches right now. And we could do the more like New World industrial kind of a thing. But since this is a themed area, like I think there's a South American theme. And it's a little cheesy, I will say. But like these could be fun. But I also want to keep an eye out. I don't know if the Wetlands Animal Pack gave us set anything for it. So we could do these, like, you know, put a bench, put a bench, put a bench, put a bench. I think we'll just keep with the New World theme here for the basic stuff. But I also want to take into consideration it's that guests have food and drink covered with the restaurant. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just line this up. And then we're going to this and pause. So we put a just a memento, loony balloons. We'll put one here. And that hat's fantastic because and then we have some lovely little things for our guests. But then what we're going to do is we're going to go to facilities or construction, not facilities. Because, like, we do have a gift shop currently in the zoo, right? Like, so here's our little, like, preset little gift shop, just for the record. What we're going to do is we're going to build another one of these facilities. Oh no, we need the construction. We go to architecture. We type in the plaster, which I believe is from the North African set, but it's also just a very nice overall texture. Actually, I want to move this one over. Because it's like we get some fun colors. And it's like, oh, that's nice. That's fun. But then we, like, you know, you can be like, oh, hey, so this, like, individually divided buildings next to each other. And then here we're going to go back to editing this group here. Apologies, I'm just kind of vibing, and we're just seeing how stream goes tonight. If people are here, people are here. If not, they're not. We're not really rushing or worrying none. It's a casual night, so for that purpose. this one. Yep. I should have known better. Let's see if we can get some toppers for that. Construction, I was already in it. Plaster. Walls. I'm just making it a little taller to, insinuate, oh, there's like a storage space up above. Because I like to do that for my zoos. It makes them feel a little more lively. Let's see how this goes. There's a new mention at the top. Bada bing, bada boom. But we'll see how this keeps going. Okay, so we have hats. So let's see if we can't get a hat sign. Two. That just brings a little splash of color. Is it the most appropriate? Probably not, but Oh, I forgot I saved this from the Belmont Zoo stuff. Yes. That just gives the buildings a little bit of character, like this is older stuff. But yeah, let's see how it goes. See who we get, who we don't. We got one foul. Well, I'm not sure. That's probably me, but you know, hey, the goal is that we're just playing. It's like hat's fantastic. Okay, so let's get some gardening planted around here as well. We got that going pretty well so far. Do 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 do. I know this could be fun. No, I don't think those are the right plan for that, but we'll keep an eye out for things, right, chat? Nope, 1 second, chat, I'll be back. Okay, sorry about that. Someone came to the door. Which happens. You know, you live in a neighborhood. You live in a society. Those kinds of things. And what I'm thinking... We'll use the mouse decals if I can't find anything else. Hi, Clementine. You're just welcome to hang out. But we're just vibing tonight. I think a yellow ipe tree would actually present a lot of good color. Yeah, see now this feels more like kind of like a zoo plaza almost. But maybe I should put in some like conservation signs in the middle. I don't know if I should be insulted by the view from the American Flamingo from here is quite good. You can really tell they put a medium amount of thought into the planning. It's probably not meant to be mean, but it's also like, you son of a gun. How dare you? We're gonna do theme, not theme, property, no material, wood. Yeah, I might be like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Why are you doing this log wood log material? And my answer is very simple, is that 9 times out of 10, staff buildings are meant to out of cheaper materials that just look thematically fine. So a wooden building makes sense. Thank you for coming. Glad to see you here. But yeah. Just doing some casual building in some Planet Zoo. We're working on a section that's currently called, I like zooming in for it, Viva Pantanal. The idea is for a South American wetlands theme that'll inevitably have a couple of different habitats that you can view over a nice lake and water system tied together. We haven't quite gotten there yet. We've been building up a somewhat decent little visitor section as guests are coming in to view the variety of animals in the reptile house, which are all South American. So we've got, I say reptiles, we have like one spider, but we've got like anaconda, green iguana, boa constrictor, and I believe it's the Brazilian wandering spider by that picture. Animals that you could actually find in the Pantanal. So right now we're just having some fun building it. Though I think we're going to need to build a base floor for this. So let's get a... well, I probably should not be flat roofs and floors. Undo. Okay, so we're adding group 112. And these aren't necessarily meant to be themed with the building per se as much as, or we're going to theme it a little bit with the building. We're just going to be like, oh, this is a patio. We'll move everything so it fits a little better. Like, they're not going to see anything beneath the tiles here. That's fine. But this also gives it that wooden base that we want for putting in the poles to make this look like it's standing above the swamp line, but also this camera angle is wonky. So that should cover us. Now, for wooden columns, I've been thinking about it. Trying to be like, okay, what do we use? What makes the most sense? And I think we just need to get a couple of browns that match up together pretty well. Why, Maddie? How's it going? Glad you can make it. Doing some Planet Zoo building for stream. We're actually going to swap those colors around, I think. Yeah, it looks a little better. Working on a South American section. Doing alright. Just hanging out. Spent most of the day cleaning. Oh, fuck, it's Saturday. Oh shit, how close am I to deadline for that? Hold on. Between the new job and everything, how much time do I have? 9 hours, streams 3, I'll write afterwards. I don't like writing deadline like this normally, so if you don't, you know, Maddie, but it's fine. Currently we're just building some Planet Zoo. Trying it out. And we're gonna just, I think, boom. Yeah, I've just been reading up on advice and like what makes sense to like keep for a schedule. So I've been doing, normally I do these on Sundays, and I wouldn't, you don't think about it. But we're gonna spin it because apparently it cares enough about this to be straight. Actually, we're going to rotate this some more just so it makes it easier to do this. And then we're going to duplicate in advance. And I didn't even, what was the point of that? But, yeah, we're just doing some Planet Zoo streaming. I knew there was, normally we do it on Saturdays, or Sundays. Today is Saturday. But I have a graduation party at the usual time window we do this at, so I was like, I'll just get it done. We'll do a stream today and call it good. Okay, so if we look straight ahead, boom. I wish the tools for these were a little kinder, but you know, this is a game made in, like, what was it? I think 2019 is when this originally came out. Still being maintained and run to this day, so like I can't complain too much. It's not like they've made a sequel yet. They keep on making DLCs for this one. But how are you doing? I haven't heard from you much. And then we're just going to take these roughly, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not like people are going to be seeing these. These are more for me anyway. I'm doing good, Clementine. I'm not sure why this is doing what it's doing. It's being a little wonky. And that gives it just a little bit more authenticity, I suppose. As long as no one checks under the hubcap. Oh, sorry to hear about your Ella's fracturing his finger. I saw that in the chat. Is he doing okay despite it all? How do you even do it? Okay, so let's see. I want to do some terrain editing while we... Put his hands near the hinges of an automated door and then didn't open until a teacher pressed the button. Well, I guess he learned that lesson. But glad to hear he's doing okay. For the most part. From what I've done in my normal day-to-day job, I know that those doors tend to be a little more finger hungry than like an old school hinge. Here, if we raise this train just a little bit, we should be fine. I was building the staff building roof over here. I don't know why I got distracted like I did. Shingle. Oops, excuse me. Let's see. I do tend to like the Arctic wood roof. But we'll see how that goes. Sometimes it's just you put up the casual stuff. And I may need to trim this building down because this right half's already just decorational. Okay, this gives that just that kind of simple, rustic little charm of here's the staff building for the area. And then I suppose if we're going to have the gates here for the animals that I want to put in these spots, we should build them. Okay. And we're just going to cover this area up here. Because I think the fun idea of having that restaurant be by where the otters feed is still insanely adorable and something that I want to do. And we're just filling this all with water here just to see how it would look. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to deepen this section a little more. Plan the foundation. It gives the otters more shore, a little more deep diving. And we flatten the terrace. That's the wrong one, so we're just gonna oopsie doodle that. We'll smooth out one second. Apologies. So that gives us both plenty of water for our caimans area, along with water for the bush dogs. And then the jaguars and anteaters will be river's edge sort of exhibits, where we will build custom water in their habitats, not necessarily connected, but the visitors won't know that. I think that's not a bad setup. Not by any means. I do think, though, that what we're going to do here is we're going to null barrier all of these. Oh. And I guess we're going to start out with the caimans and the giant otters. Actually, here, let's see if we can get the water up a little higher. Over here, actually, though. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little trick I learned. Because it'll still... There, that should give us better water space coverage. Overall. Yeah. That way there's like sandbars for them to play on, and there's some shallow water to splash around in, and then there's some proper deep water to dive in. And that still gets the river sections and gets a shallow section for the caiman that we're planning on having inhabit this section. And I guess over here with the main wolf's area, we will just do a slight push down so that it is simulated to look like it is on the river's edge, that its waters will connect. Actually, I think this is where we're going to terrace. And then we're going to flatten the foundation, smooth that bad boy out, so that when you're walking, we're going to go in explore mode. So that, yeah, when you're walking, it looks like the water here is the same water down there, but the illusion is protected. So that even if you're like coming up and you're like, oh hey, I see the main wolves, you're like, oh, there's their water. That should be fine. We may smooth out this, we may flatten this closer to the path if we can get it. You are running, what are you running around for? I don't need to track them, I just want to know their thoughts. Alright, I guess. Terrain. Oh, right, we need to raise this side up, wouldn't we? Sculpting. You know what? We might be able to cheese it. There's always a way to cheese it. And you might be like, this is nuts, because, like, main wolves don't even swim. But it's about the illusion, and I can always hide this barrier behind rocks they're never going to cross anyway. Actually, here. Because look, boom. And then it's like, oh yeah, this is just a higher part of it. And we'll build like rocks for a waterfall down there. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then nobody questions at a barrier. It's about the illusion, not necessarily if it looks good. Or if it makes the most practical sense. Oh, I'm grabbing the wrong barrier. That would be why I'm having troubles. Use a rock there. But yeah, so that way when you're walking, it looks like that this water part connects to this water part, and that this water part and that water part are inseparable, despite the fact that there are, in fact, several separable qualities. We're going to remove the water. We're going to smooth that out. I meant to do that sooner. Let me smooth that down for a better water's edge. Make sure that covers everything we needed to again. Perfect. We're doing alright. Alright, he's just got a couple of fingers strapped up for a bit. Time off for PE phys ed. He'll have a school-provided laptop to take notes since he can't write with a pen. I've taken him for a fracture clinic to check his healing rate at some point. Well, that's good. It sounds like there's a good plan in place, and the school's not being a complete, moron about it, which is, I feel like in this day and age, can be a little rare. So let's see. Let's look at the animals we're going to be putting in. What kind of barriers do they need? Spectacle caiman is what's going to go over here. You can get 1 male and up to 5 females. So let's see how much size they need. 6. Oh, this is going to be plenty big. Fun fellows. They just need a water requirement. They don't need a deep water. I may have accidentally made this section way too big, so we may get a little funky with the building here. I may have been in my brain like crocodilians always get like these tiny little habitats, but one of them have just a big old pond. This isn't even the right one. We're looking at the giant otter habitat. So we go here. Giant otters are just, by the way, one of the neatest animals. Because it's like, oh, here's all these like cute, adorable little guys. And then South America is just like, here's just a casual 60 to 72 inch long animal. Which, it's 12, 48, 60. Just a casual 5 to 6 foot massive fella. I think we're gonna go 8 and do 4x4. So let's see how much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, we got plenty of space. What berries do they need? Grade 2, a little taller than 6 foot almost, so pretty much 2 meters. Edit barrier. So we're looking for that where it's not 2. Which seems to be a spot here and a spot here. Admittedly, what this is we're seeing the null barriers. I'm in sandbox mode, so animals won't escape. But just having some fun with it, Giant otter. 2, 3, and 4. You're going to take those 4 first. And we're going to go send them to the quarantine because I don't think I turned that off. And we'll get some more here. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then the animal storage. Send to zoo. Quarantine small 1. We're gonna go to rocks. And we just institute a rock wall barrier. Now, this, I don't think giant otters can climb, so as long as it's a fairly sheer surface, our guests should be able to see over it, but with the difference in terrain, the height should be enough to deter. And this way, the otters can wander and explore their habitat. I guess don't see, a fence. You'd be surprised what people are willing to forgive versus not. And then that builds up for that. They're hovering above. This should be good. And this tropical rock doesn't look half bad. 1 second again. Apologies, I have a bit of a cough today. But yeah, we're having just a fun little time building and playing and seeing how it goes. Alright, get you guys up because you are one of my favorites for rock walls. So these are for like pillars for when you build like little shelter caves. And like what I might do is build a small like actual shelter house to help. Let's just do that. And we'll just duplicate it here. Well, no. We want to do separate because if we do the same, then it gets... Then I can't free turn them as needed. Log walls. Because before I anchor them down, I can go, hey, here's a chunk of habitat path that I would like to put these on. And then we just, this is where we can adjust the building so that the animals can use it. But this just gives them, you know, a section to be like, hey, this is an indoor shelter for when it rains. Apologies. Let's finish this roof. And we'll work on that fencing for the otters. We'll build them a floor too, because log. Right, and because I did the auto paint rain, it looks bizarre. Okay, that is too much. Redo. We just need to decrease the size to like 3. So it looks like this is just a place for them to come sleep. And it looks pretty bare and open right now because there's just... Yes, yes. I hear you, Clementine. But this is... it gives these more naturalistic walls. And we'll turn off climbing on them so that, just in case if I'm being goofy. And once we properly plant them and build up the garden variety, it should present a more, how do you say, actually believable look. Like over here, we'll do lots of planting. We'll make it work. We're building up another habitat. Alright, hold on. We're gonna... The weird gaps were getting to me. But legitimately, we're so close to affiliate right now. I'm really excited because like they changed the goals and I have to get average viewers up, but I feel like that's something I can do. But I went from like, you need to get 50 followers to 25, and I'm like, okay, I can do 50 followers. That's not hard. This gives like a little private fishing area that you could in theory divide off if like a male was being particularly ornery. But yes, this should prove to be very fun. Let's get one of the fences in. See if we can build something like this. If I have something like that. Let's see. European cast iron fence, which isn't the same thing. Okay. So we're just going to do these. Because not only will this help encourage guests not to go wandering off the trail into the otter pit, but also keep curious otters away. And then we can put some over here to insinuate the same thing, even though in theory the otters should never come up this far. It does make the guests feel more secure, though. And like I said, keeps them from... Okay, so we're going to do this one here. And then we're just going to doink. Not 100%, but you know, it gives the major illusion. And that illusion is what matters. And I will say, no matter what's happening, that this does look good. Let's see, who's still here? We're going to do a refresh just because. We're going to go and keep pushing on. So if I'm looking right here, let's go back to this bio. So they live in aquatic, tropical, and grassland sections of Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, French Guiana, Paraguay, Peru. So we can add the biome of grassland. I'm doing pretty good. I don't know if there's anyone else in stream, but I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, Clementine. We're so close to our 20 followers. We need 25 in total to get affiliates. I'm hoping we can get more than one. We can get 2 tonight. I don't know if we will. That's for me to worry about later. Okay, align to water. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in I love that that is the literal shallowest of connections there. Like, I just had just enough room to consider say they're connected. Now this isn't in particular caused around or built by anyone for anything. This is just a fun little section. So we're going to clear that. We're going to focus on just the aquatic plants for now. So we're going to turn off the align to surface to water. And I don't remember if I turned on or off for the foliage requirements for animals, because this may accidentally overcompensate for what we need. But I am really enjoying how this is coming out. And see, that gives that just kind of like that, okay, so there's actual foliage growing down here. Not just a barren, brown, muddy river bottom. I think we're about to have a bunch of very spoiled otters. I don't know about you guys, but it's something, alright. So I guess one thing I could talk about while we're sitting here, a new Jurassic World Evolution is coming out, Jurassic World Evolution 3. And I'm starting out excited for it. We're going to see how that sticks around. Because it does look like it is a proper expansion. Genetic previews, genetic modification seems to be more important. Babies and long-term generation give more playability. That's for sure. And I'm excited for that part. But it's also like I've bought the last two games. I've enjoyed the last two games. Do they need me for a third one? That I don't know. It's like maybe I joined for a third one. We'll see. I'm thinking about getting it, to be fair. But I'm also in the boat of I can wait and see without needing to be like, I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it. Because it'll be fun, but it's also we will be returning to a game, like, admittedly, and I think the part that's going to get me versus not getting me is that it's $50 on the pre-order for the base game, $60 for the deluxe, and that is, in theory, in practice, well, that's a better question. We're actually going to put this over here. I think the jaguar habitat, I think that'll be killer over here as a central focus point. So we're just going to set that down there. Now that obscures that view too much. I was hoping for like some casual decent trees that don't destroy the sight line. Apparently that was too much to ask for. But baby dinosaurs, new maps, a better sandbox allegedly for player usage, which will be nice. Like a better campaign. It does kind of obscure the other lake, but you know what? At this point, it's fine. Actually, no, you know what? I know what I'm going to plant. I have the yellow Ipe 3s. Keeps that lake potentially visible while adding splashes of color in for this habitat. We'll add some fun palms and you know, get some like plants to help make it feel like, oh, this is where shit gets weird. But it's also like you want to be able, like, hey, I come here and I can see the otters either playing on the sandbank or swimming in the water. So you don't want to get too much, you know? Alright, it's not looking half bad. I'm excited for it. Okay, so now we need to go to habitat. We're going to go to species. We don't need the African savanna elephant yet. That's not the right area. What we'll do is we'll put out a jetty platform so that our otters can pop up. And we'll put the black of frozen fish up here. And a small ball up here. And the mud bath for visitor viewing there. And what we'll do is we'll put a bubble feeder here for that. Toys. And then bada bing, bada boom. And then this gives us here a small little private play area. And I think that's the sign of this habitat's ready to get some animals in it. I don't know about you guys. Let's go to our quarantine. So, I don't know if anyone's here, but I did a late night art stream. The VOD apparently saved it as the stream before that. But you know what? It is what it is. And we will just enjoy that as it goes along, because, you know, if we're going to have a crap ton of animals, and we're just going to kick around and hang out, we just now got in our giant otters. Let's see them come say hi to their whole habitat. One of the goals that I have for when I get through to doing affiliate and getting the points is that people can come name their animals. Because I think that's just a fun little thing to do. Because if you want to name the animals, you should. And our visitors seem to be really happy with the giant otters. So I did seriously think about putting in an underwater viewing section. But I think overall, apologies, one of the things that we should just have as we go along, is that it gives a top-down perspective. You can still see them swimming, you can still see them diving and playing, and it gives almost a more naturalistic look, like you're on safari. I haven't really developed this path up here because I didn't think everyone was going to immediately swarm. Apparently, I was mistaken. We're going to do giant otter. Utilities, guest facilities, finance. We're going to put in some donation boxes. As you can see, our visitors do seem to be really excited about Viva Pantanal's first new animal in the form of the giant otters. Tropical. And I like repeating these in this area because these are animals that would have enjoyed and shared similar things. Doo-doo. Many guests think tickets are underpriced. That's good. Every time I bring it up, you guys are like, no, it's not. It's too much, so I haven't fixed that yet. But yes, our visitors seem to be very, very excited about our newest animals. Adding in the giant otters has just skyrocketed our popularity as a whole, apparently, with our animal rating now being a 3.5 star. The only thing they're up the zoo that we could do better is conservation and marketing. And marketing is a button tab and that I click. Oh, I need to move those down. Those look a little funky, free floating. And that section's very nice and planted. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a couple of fake facade buildings over here. Implications of staff areas and the lake. But here, we will adjust our prices to $10. And then you can complain here in a bit. And then if we wanted to, we go to finances, we go to marketing. We begin marketing. And that gives us marketing 5 stars. Viva Pantanal, though, is looking like we're getting a pretty good start so far. Ignore the sign back here. We will hide that in time. I'll delete it in time, let's be fair. But the thing that I appreciate is that, like, you could just go up this way and back. People are running around the whole dang thing. That's fine, they can think they're underpriced. We have a reptile house and not even the second reptile yet. Nature, rocks. Okay, so where is it with here? Boom. I'll do just a cladding rock here on the top, and that covers up the maned wolf separation. Actually, you know what I might do? We're gonna probably do here chat for the maybe 5 people who are listening. We are going to do something bizarre. Barriers. We have cut the water in half. We are going to remove, undo. Actually, here. Now we're going to remove the water. Otters in the habitat, you have your stuff again. Apologies. I'm trying to fix the terrain over here. No, undo. My otters are going to be so upset with me, guys. It's not funny. I keep on kicking them out of their own homes. Uh-oh, is my stream? No, my stream's not frozen. Okay, there we go. We got that taken care of. How are my otters? My otters are happy. You know, this is an excellent time to be like, hey, is there anything in facilities for binoculars? Doo-doo. Well, I think we're going to have to reconsider some of our strategy of just being able to stay on the path. If the visibility of the otters is a problem, then it's going to become a problem for more than just them, you know? It'll be a visibility problem for the caimans. It'll be, like, for the bush dogs from here? Nah. Special effects, water. Okay, camera. I think because it gets a more naturalistic look. They're doing pretty good today, chat. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, it's weird. I lost the chat history there. No, I got the chat history still here. So, let's see what I've got in my construction tab under fences. Is this flexi color? It's not. This would technically be close enough. If anyone was like, okay, this makes sense, and observation rail strong enough to keep the zookeepers safe while surveying their habitat. No, my plan is not actually to add it into that group game. And there we go. That gives that fence. That means keeps the other animals out from the other sections for now. I will... There we go, that covers that. I think we got ourselves a bit of an absolute win here, lads. I gotta say, guys, this shit fucking slaps. I never did put in those glass. You are trying your best, aren't you? Okay, we're going to save zoo real quick as the Southport Zoo. Just so I have it saved. I'm going to go in the sandbox settings. I don't remember if actually, no, we don't want to deal with that because we have the box animals. So we won't be breeding our otters in this zoo, but we're just building them a fun little habitat. And you're the chattiest little guys. Staff-wise, we're going to hire some more staff. We're going to hire another keeper. We're going to hire a couple of more educators as well. Should be fun. You know. Part of me is like, why isn't anyone here? And I'm like, right, because I'm used to streaming on Sundays. Saturdays, everybody streams. So all the people who watch streams are going to be at those. Spectacled Cayman. Spectacled Cayman. Who's a stand-in for this? So the Spectacled Cayman specifically does not live in the Pantanal. There is a specific species of caiman that does. We don't technically have access to that species. Right? Like, there's only so many crocodilians you can put into a game before it gets too crazy. And I bet if I looked up on, Nexus and got the modding set up, I could do it. But I don't know if I'm allowed to do mods. And stream it, you know what I mean? We just gotta make sure these don't clip through the path too much. Is this one of the biggest spectacle caiman habitats potentially all on Planet Zoo? Absolutely. Is this the kind of thing normally you would see a spectacle caiman in? Absolutely not. I love my crocodilians, don't get me wrong. But I think this is one of those things that you would see like once. You're just going to do this. I'm going to duplicate. The water holds the healthy foliage. I'm just happy people are here and enjoying the stream. We're building a home for spectacled caiman. And this is Clementine. Clementine likes greeting people and asking for food that I cannot provide Clementine. I don't know if I've got everything fully turned on correctly, but we'll find out, I suppose. Then we're going to go down here to our wonderful giant otter habitat. We don't want the platform with it, so we're going to zoom in. We're going to just do this. Duplicate the 242 objects. And sink them down below. There is a bit of a learning curve. It was... So I'll be honest with you. When I first bought the game, I opened it and I went, wow, this is too much for me. And I put it down. Because the learning curve was big. And there wasn't a whole lot of tutorials out there. And I was like, what do I do? And the answer is, the reason there's not a whole lot of tutorials is that there's an entire campaign mode that goes mission by mission and explores the different mechanics. So if you ever want to, it's one of those, it's a good thing to pick up. I played the classic Zoo Tycoons for well past their lifespan of what would be reasonable for a normal video game. But if you've played like Jurassic World Evolution 2 and that you're like, okay, I need a little more, this fixes it. There's also the benefit that I feel like this game has that people don't talk about a lot, is that there's presets for everything. So like, I'm hand building things because I'm wanting to make it distinctly mine. But if I wanted to do like a South American theme here rather than custom build houses and things based off of the Pantanal, and I just wanted to do like, oh, I want to have a South American theme, it's got the stuff like classic Zoo Tycoon. Like, you just go down to the specific theme you want. I don't know why it's not showing everything. So you have like a shop shell, you put your shop shell where you would want it, snap it into place, click on it, you'll get one of the whatever you're going to put in there, click on the building, and literally just shift drag down, and bam, you're done. And I've seen some really good zoos built out of just the pre-built stuff. But I've gotten to a point personally where I'm like, I like to have the freedoms of doing it myself. Which is another reason why I'm streaming it, is because it's eventually you get mad talking to yourself going, all these squares are a circle, so you pop on, you figure, oh hey, your computer can do the streaming things, and well, if you're already going to be playing the game, you might as well just stream it for a bunch of strangers online. all they're going to do is either tell you it looks great or it looks terrible, and at that point, well, it's the internet. But what we're building a habitat for here is the spectacled caiman. That's true. And it's one of those things, especially when you're learning how every directional tool works. Welcome, by the way, Lurking Recluse. It feels like it'll be a year and a half. But truth be told, it's once you kind of like figure it out and get in the motions, you don't really think about it. Like, truth be told, like, I have, like, here, let me stop planting grass for a bunch of crocodiles that'll never use it. I say as I plant more grass patches. So pretty much all these are just the basic bare bone buildings. I've just built a little bit of the plaster frames around, colored, and given a unique, just, it takes a little bit. I'll say for our first stream that we ever did on the channel, we did this flamingo habitat from scratch. Like, laid out the land, built the house in the back, put all the enrichment, the planting. It was an hour and a half. But I was also trying to make sure it had a good vibe, and I custom made the fence. This is a custom made fence, not a pre-existing one. You can tell that because, like, right here, let's see if we can get it. There's just a micrometer off, and I'm fixing that now, but we're not. No, we want to. We're gonna just quietly. And it's one of those things where it's like, you either learn the patience for it, or you just kinda don't. I don't fault people for playing easier games. Like, I'll be honest with you, there's nights where I go, oh, I can't play Planet Zoo, so I go boot up the old Zoo Tycoon because I can do something in 30 seconds, but I couldn't do in 30 minutes, It happens. But the more you do it, the better you get. Then you start getting things that don't look half bad. I'm going to have to put the curbs in you again, aren't I? Here's a tip and trick, just from me to you. Oh, that's really cool, Lurking Recluse. I'd love to hear that. Glad to hear you're doing a Pantanal Zoo. This is just a themed section of this area. Behind the Flamingo info board is the same. Yep, I'm not fixing that habitat. I got other ones I'm working on. But I'm glad. But it's one of those, I do, in this one, Sandbox, because there's a button I can toggle, so I don't have to manage that. The answer is, if you're wanting to manage them really well, it's, you just keep an eyeball on a population, and when a child grows up, you adopt it out. Except when it comes to the, I think it's the exhibit animals, bins, benches, and security. Okay, guys, I didn't want to have to do this, especially because this is a circle. But you keep running through the fountain. I can and will trap you in the fountain. I don't know how many of them are there, but that should at least get you off of the fountain. But as you can see, this, like, there's nothing too particular fancy at this current moment. My idea is for the Viva Pantanal section. This is our little sign for the area, because when I started doing this zoo, I had just visited the St. Louis Zoo, and they have the river's edge has a sign, and all the little areas have a sign. I'm like, I'm gonna build a sign for every little section I do. And then this section didn't stay little. The idea is that it's a walk around a wetland, and that visitors can come in and see the giant otters, and they can go up this way. And the eventual plan is you come up, there's the otters on your left, and on your right here, we're going to do a mixture of I think it's the Baird's tapir and the stand-in for the Brazilian tapir, and giant anteater, as both are present in the Pantanal. And then there's going to be a little jaguar section here. And then you come up to this wider swoop here on the left, which will be hopefully a very gorgeous looking lake, with spectacled caiman, which I don't know why I decided the spectacled caiman needed the big central focus, but you know what? Crocodiles don't get enough love. They're wonderful animals. But then you'd go this way up and around past the jaguars, and then to the next one. And I'm noticing with how the habitat's behaving with the giant otters that I may need to build a secondary path down and around here. But this is going to be for bush dogs, because they're also in the Pantanal. And then the weird one that I found out lived in the Pantanal, like, I don't see why they wouldn't, but I always assumed they were more in the Andes Mountains, and that was more their stricter range of the grasslands, but maned wolves live in this section, are going to live over here. And then I haven't really planned anything for over here. I'm going to probably just foliage decorate it up, keep the entrance building blocked off. Ignore the text sign, I'm keeping that in case if I put any more funky signs on buildings in this section. I got this is on the workshop, by the way. It's there's so many good fonts on the workshop, so that if you want something that looks a specific way, you can get things like Reptile House, Reptile House. So this was the first area I built after the American Flamingos. You know what, wait, I have a better way to explore this. What am I doing? So we have green iguanas on display here, yellow anacondas. We've got the boa constrictor, because of course we do. And then somewhere in here are the Brazilian wandering spider. And then we have all these education signs and things for visitors to see. It's a fun little area. But my original idea was I was going to cluster this area in like fake facades and buildings. And then I went, actually, no, I don't want to do that. And there wasn't enough input as one way or one other, so that's where we are. And then this is the backstage area to the spectacled caimans and giant otters. This is the little staff building with a little built-on extra. And then over here is the indoor section. I'll fix that here in a second. Of the giant otters. Like, this is a little indoor shelter. They have this nice wide area. And the best part is that the way I designed it is that they can, in theory, as we see here, use this section as shelter underneath the restaurant. And they got a little bubbler and a little private water section over on this side. What are you doing? Because you look stuck. Here. You see, they can come under here. It gives them a special little secreted away area. But they can come over and play with the bubblers. But yes, that's the theme currently going on for this section. It'll probably end up, knowing how Planet Zoo tends to go, we're going to try to finish up the spectacled caiman habitat tonight. It'll probably be one stream where we do the mixed habitat of tapir and giant anteater, and then one for the jaguar, and we'll do bush dogs and maned wolves. And then we have the big floor plan, which is subject to change now because of the new DLC pack coming out. Oh yeah, for tortoises, that's fantastic stuff. And bush dog, yeah. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat that I missed. Oh yeah, and the vivarium's like it's inside a building. They're one of the best ways to do it, like a classical reptile house. I thought about putting doors and things, but I'm like, I remembered how much of a pain that can be at times. It's like, nah, I'll just do the open pathways. Visitors like it. But the overall plan for the zoo here is that we have a wetlands South America section, and we're gonna have probably in this spot here, uh, and a little mini Yellowstone National Park featuring bison, grizzly bears, wolves, and mountain lions, or cougars as they're called in the game. I think this section over here is going to become an African themed section. Once again, probably like there's a couple of places I was looking at in particular that don't get a whole lot of in zoo focus that I was going to try to inspire and build around. Maybe originally before I did the Pantanal, when I was thinking of just doing a tropical rainforest of the Amazon, making this themed over the Okavango. With the Pantanal, it kind of covers the wetlands aspect. So I think doing either something in the Congo rainforest or one of the lesser known savanna sections in scrublands would be a very good fit for over here. But like with this section over here on the right, which we're going to talk about in a second, that's subject to change. This was a themed section of a trip around Asia. In particular, I wanted to do a mixed habitat over here of Japanese macaque and red-crowned cranes, and you would walk around, you'd have a Malaysia section, and then an India section, and then you end in the Himalayas, and you come back to a central plaza, right? Well, they showed the honey badger, and that's thrown everything, a wrench into every plan we have. Because that could mean 10 different things. It could mean an India pack. And if it's the India pack... Oh. So, Frontier, like last week, announced a new pack is coming. They gave a teaser of the honey badger, which is the new one coming out. They haven't full announced yet, but there's been theories of like, oh, there's going to be an India pack, or oh, it's going to be a tropical rainforest pack, or the yada yada yada, and I'm like, well, both of those would affect what I build, because like if it's a tropical rainforest pack and it's got the Indian, it's got the honey badger, and then it introduces like a couple of more Congo rainforests, this area can easily become a Congo rainforest section. But if it's an India pack, I could theme most of this around the variety of Indian-themed animals, and then just do a Himalayas at the end and a Japan on the other side, and then you have that covered. So for now, I chose an area that probably won't be touched, and it's South America. Because we just had the America's Animal Pack with the Saki monkey and everything, and the bush dog, so we should be fine. I don't know when it'll be. I don't think that, because America's was April, usually that means it'll be later on. But, it's one of those, if it's taking me several multi-hour streams to get this far in the Pantanal, then I do the Little Americas, or the Little Yellowstone, then, we'll see how that gets along, and could affect future plans. But I have no idea, to be completely honest with you. I have stopped trying to predict Frontier schedule. But like I said, all they given was a teaser image of a, kind of like they did with the palace cat. It was the honey badger was clear and in color shot. There looked to be like lion-tailed macaques, silhouetted, or a primate of some variety. Which, to be fair, we really need more primates. Like, they're so common in zoos and so many varieties, and we have 2 monkeys, and the great apes and mandrills. Like that's an area that we could do. Oh, we have the Hamadryas baboon. So it wouldn't hurt to have more, you know what I mean? But continent. We're good there. We need grassland and tropical so we can build up some more visually interesting things. And I know what tree I want to use. I haven't been able to find before a really good use for Cecropia trees because they're so tall, right? And then it hit me. These would be perfect for like an animal that you're not going to look that tall up into the environment for. And the spectacle caiman, who is going to be lying down here on the beach for the most part if you see him on the land, was perfect. And then we can just do some skillova bushes here and there. But I am excited, but it's like, it makes me like, should I do an India? If I'm doing India, do I wait? You know what I mean? It's like, and that's one of those things. If it's a tropical rainforest pack, or, you know what I mean? Because, like, they had the macaques, or a primate of some species, and an elephant in the background. And everyone's like, Borneo elephant, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, the African forest elephant is a unique species of elephant and doesn't have anything. So it's like, it could be that, you know? But it's, we'll see. They've only done, like I said, the teaser image, and people are extrapolating and guessing, and it's like, cool. I might just build a honey badger area because I know that's coming. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Hello, pre-built habitats. Also, Sploxia, if you're still here, there is a set of mods on the workshop. I say mods, set of builds on the workshop that if you need help trying to figure out how to build habitats, they're the starter habitats, and they have one for pretty much every animal in the game. They're very good if you're like starting out and like, I need to get an inspiration for something. I eyeballed them early on when I was still figuring things out myself. I've kept them because sometimes it's nice to look back and be like, alright, you could do this. I won't probably use them in a live stream, because if I do it in a live stream, it'll be an oops all starter habitats build, where we use only pre-build things in the workshop to build an entire zoo or something. Which could be a fun, like, stream of some sort. Oops all pre-built. Oops all workshop, I don't know. And let's get a little bit of coverage on the ground by those guys. Actually, you know what? I think I know what we're going to do. We're going to go to rocks. Because we're building for caimans, right? So why wouldn't we build them some good warm basking points? But yeah, so stuff's coming. And yeah, with the pre-mades, it gets a little wonky using pre-made stuff. It'll warp the terrain because it's saved from where a terrain was put into the game when you build it. But like here, we'll borrow one real quick. Construction. No, it was nature because I had all the foliage. So like it'll start hovered up, and what you can do is you shift around, and you can press the shift button, and then you can usually use the path in the back as just a point of reference, and then it'll modify the terrain slightly just to adjust to what you got, but after that point, you should be good. And then you can tweak as needed. We're going to do the undo button because that was just an example. And it's also partially in the what will be the bush dog habitat. But overall, like I said, it's one of those. There is, like I said, there is a bit of a learning curve, and I'm not going to deny there's a learning curve because I went through the learning curve. But I do also genuinely think that the tutorials and the campaign help you learn how to manage and balance animals and guests in equal measure. And when you give that a shot, then you'll be perfectly fine. Okay. So we're going to call this good for now while we go start looking for animals. We're using the spectacle caiman, which technically doesn't exist in the range that we're seeking. There is a specific unique species to the Pantanal, but for practicality's sake, they cover what we need. Okay, we're going to send to zoo. I still have animal injuries on because I am only slightly masochistic. Alright, so we've got 5 spectacle caiman females, which if I remember the population distributions, up to 5 females, up to 1 male. So we can get one, either a male or a female, depending on what pops up on the list. There. We can start off with the 5 females while they get checked in. Ooh, guests are leaving. Oh no, that's not trash, that's plant. I was like, ooh, guests are trashing up my place. No. It's just some reeds that decided they wanted to be a little kooky. Because I don't really have any trash cans along the Pantanal path. But yeah. Ooh, yeah, with the Bonobo one was having troubles, that's a bit weird. Sometimes they say it's funny. But yeah, campaign is I find the campaign to be really good because it's like, hey, here's how these mechanics work. Here's how this. And then you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, cool, here's... Because it's one of those, like, you'll get in and you're like, oh, you think you've learned everything. And then you get stuck with the greedy corporate guy who is a sleazeball. And you want to just, like, make his head bounce like a volleyball on the ground. Or a basketball on the ground, depending on how violent you want to be. But he's like, hey, you need to build a sky tram. And that's where you learn how to build a sky tram. And they just kind of throw that at you. We're just having some fun. Also, hello, April B. Arting. Welcome to the stream. Apparently your name's now April Barding. Clementine has declared so. But while we're waiting for them to get through, let's get their habitat set up real quick. Here's another tip and trick you can learn that it literally took me an age and a half to realize. I was like, oh, this is so much faster. So if you buy all the DLCs, you'll notice this is a massive list to scroll through every single time. It's just a pain in the ass. However, as long as you can spell, you can just type in what you're looking for, and boom, it pops up all of what they need. So, like, for example, we're going to put in a couple of fish feeders for the caimans, because I think it's fun to encourage natural behaviors. Beds and shelters, we could build them funky ones, but I think one of the fun things to do is literally just give them a little jetty or two to rest on, so our visitors who aren't by the beachside can watch them clam out and bask on some fun wood platforms. But we're here for the enrichment items, which is like, oh hey, they come through the ones in the bottom doing funky stuff. And then, like, terrestrially speaking, if I can get away with it, I'll sink these into the land. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But giving them things on land to do also encourages them to hang out on the surface. Even if it's just a blood scent marker and a plant. I'm not even going to put it in a plant, I'm just going to put it there. And I gotta say, for a caiman habitat, I feel like this is pretty good. Let's go see if the girls are ready. This is not the right building. This is the right building. Okay. And then we're going to rename this habitat Cayman Cove. Because what's the fun if you don't name things? And we'll put in some education signs and enrichment donation boxes across this whole way. Because guests like that, and that's how you generate a good amount of money. But you see, proof, the jetty beds are very good resting platforms. Because it allows them to do things like nap together. And like, if I saw that in a zoo, you defy physics, Pedro? Just because you're related to Pedro Pascal by name does not mean you can defy physics and walk on deep water? Sorry, Pedro's be doing all sorts of things. Oh, I remember. I know who you are, April B. Arting. I recognize your name. Also, I think it's the Madagascar ones. Yes. So, to be fair, while we're still contemplating things, well, we want to see our caimans. They're going to go explore their habitat. Caimans are not particularly large reptiles. In Planet Zoo at the very least. It may have almost been wiser to get a whole group of males and do a bachelor male group. Because male crocodiles, alligators, and whatnot tend to be larger because they don't have to spend calcium requirements laying eggs and then they get thick. But I adopted a bunch of female spectacle caimans because that's what I did and no one can stop me. But we will get Joao to have a nice big boy. And we're going to send him to the zoo. Go to the quarantine. Okay. He's going through the quarantine. Okay, as you can see, people are really excited to see the caimans. I don't think you could get this in real life for caimans, but you never know. So facilities, here's what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is put in a bunch of media, habitat, education stands. No, we want this one. Thank you for being on the path. Ignore the people I clip in through reality by installing these boards. And here we will change this to spectacled caiman. Spectacled caiman. And spectacled caiman. And then we go to guest facilities, finances, the donation box. I'm going to put one here. We're going to put one here specifically because on this side is where the main wolves will be, so we'll also put one here. One here. My visitors are... Who paid you people to be here? Because I'm going to be real with you. I'm stoked you're here. Nobody's this excited for caimans. Except for like 3 people, and I know all of them. They're pretty much going to do main wolves on this side, which should be interesting. Yeah, I thought they would be bigger, because I didn't do Cuviers because I thought they'd be small, but these lasses are small. But it's fine, they're exploring their home, and I'm not going to be upset by putting in another reptile. Yeah, the guests are getting excited from seeing sunbathing. And I think most of the girls are swimming right now. Yeah, they're just swimming along. Just go on a swim. we just be vibing. Or get in the... Oh. Let's go say hi to the big boy. Oh, he is a big chunker. Like, look at that size difference. Look at him. We call this absolute unit. Yeah, this is not a... But yes, we are currently working on making our way to get to affiliate, so any follows are greatly appreciated. If not, no worries. Planet Zoo is a game I stream at least once a week. Normally it's dedicated to Sundays. Something has come up this Sunday, so I streamed today. Because normally I've got something that goes on, but I may be doing more in the future. We'll see how that goes. But overall, yeah, I think we got ourselves a Cayman Cove and an Otter Lake going pretty well. For our first animals of Viva Pantanal, people are loving them. And I think they're a great combo because both of them eat each other. That's right. This 5 to 6 foot long otter eats caimans like it's nobody's business, but they're fair game to the caimans. And our visitors are loving it. Let's see, do I have any caiman? I'd like to build like a little caiman statue thing here. I don't know what I have statue-wise. It's been a second. Reward statues. Let's see, what do I got through here? Pangolins. Oh right, I forgot. I have an iguana I could put on here. So we're gonna sneak an iguana onto the Viva Pantanal sign. Just because. I guess the king penguin. Yeah. Let's see, tapir. Oh. So here's what I'm thinking for this section. For this little area, we do like a little like statue path, and if we can get statues of the animals, like if I type in jaguar, we could do like a cool, like they have this cool funky South American wooden jaguar statue. If I type in giant, I only get pan. Ant eater. Nope. Oh, I have caps locks on also. Cayman. So yes, there is the... They have some dwarfed cayman, which isn't the cayman we have, but it's close enough in my eyes that we could put him here in a little statue garden. And then the otter, like the fountain, there is some fun little giant. These are very clearly giant otters, so you have cayman, tapir, jaguar, otter, no giant anteater. Look up wolf. See if there's anything for the main wolf. I don't remember if the Grasslands pack did. Nope. So nothing for wolf. Bush dog. just a sign. So we have a little like statue section, so you can like take pictures, because I think that's an important and fun part of zoos, is to have little statues. But overall, we're doing pretty dang good today. I'm taking every win we can. So the question comes next. We have we have 4 habitats on the outer area we need to design. Should I start doing that now? And since we're finished up pretty much with these 2? Because I did say I would go until pretty much I was tired. I got probably another hour and a half in me. And if we want, we could get at least working on a jaguar habitat. If not something... Or we could do the giant anteaters and Barrett's tapirs. Or we could get feisty and do, let's get like, you know... Oh, hey, here's the bush dogs, and build the bush dog habitat. And then build a little staff area in between, and then that can be for the main wolves as well. So whatever you guys are feeling, and there's any input from chat. So I think for this one, we do... So what I'm doing currently is I'm trying to figure out a rough habitat size for the bush dogs. Because what I'll do is I can just start outlining the habitats that I want to use. Space-wise, foliage-wise. But we'll prevent them from getting there with these rocks, and that'll be fine. But this gives us the freedom for building and then pathing for the visitors. Big old habitats for the main wolves. Link them up to the barriers that I use to figure out how to get the water a little higher. Because my original plan was to have the water up to about this height here, and that'd just be the height for everything, but I couldn't quite get it to work, and I was having terrain molding problems. So I eventually went, alright, we gotta be a little smarter than the box. And so we thought outside of the box, and now we have some very beautiful waterfalls that go in from the upper habitats to the lower ones. And then for over here, I'm thinking... And then we can build like a fairly large staff section back here for like staff break rooms and visitor, you know, build everything so they don't have to constantly run to the front of the zoo. And then we can tie it in for the little Yellowstone section or whatever this part ever ends up being. Oh, there's probably enough unique people in chat that we haven't been on a tour in a little second. gives us a break while I think on where to go next. So, if nobody minds, you'll just come along with a visitor's eye view into the Southport Zoo. The entrance is a fairly old school middle zoo vibe design. Most modern big zoos out of this zoo will inevitably end up being the scale at won't be this small of an entrance, but you know, I like mid-sized zoos. I thought this was going to be a mid-sized zoo. The more I put into it, the more it's not. But you come through the entrance, you got like there's a restroom because there was a restroom at the front, a gift shop that doesn't let you exit because I tried to do that once. Uh-oh. There is a pack of people. Sorry, people get trapped sometimes. It happens. So you come in and this is your central plaza. I spent forever going, am I going to do just like a garden green and some small animals on the side? Or am I going to do like an animal in the front like the flamingos? My thought went to the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans because they have this really big promenade with the trees like this. And then you go off to the left and there's flamingos. And I'm like, well, why don't you just merge them together? And then you know what? I did just that. Alright. Even flow. Okay, now I got that fixed. Yeah, it's just a section that I knew needed fixing, so we fixed it. So then you would come around here, and you would start into one of the 4 areas. That would be easily main areas of the zoo, which would be your Viva Pantanal, which is the only one we've got going so far. I also appreciate, I built this path on the right. You can just use it. Basically, you have Viva Pantanal, you have the pretty gardens. Then you go this way to the back half of the plaza, which I'm thinking about putting some more statues and work as we get building into these sections. But as I was playing, I was like, oh, I should build a section for guests to get food while I'm designing and going into artistic things. So this is inspired by another building I saw over at the St. Louis Zoo. I've been to a lot of zoos, and I look at even more. But this is inspired specifically at the St. Louis Zoo, where if you go to the Red Rock section, which is mostly their classical hoof stock spots, you get some very interesting food stands. And I was like, oh, I should try to emulate those. There's a staff building of those in the back. And then you'd either go to Vive Pantanal, whatever we call Yellowstone. I might be cheesy and call it Jellystone because, yeah. And then there's the African section over here, which will have a name, and whatever the Asian section ends up being. But we're not worried about that for now, because we're going to be building over here for the foreseeable future. And then you have the courtyard, the reptile house, and the area we've been hanging out in pretty much all night. Apologies. But you know, hey, we're kicking and screaming and keep on carrying on. Alright. We may need to start a limit on the guest spawns. Because that's going to be a problem if that's going to cause that much lag. We'll make this like a little viewing area into the bush dog habitat that's off the path, and then maybe doing an underwater. Okay, so we're going to select this section here. And we're going to move. Because we're going to make it a little, like, ground view window. And we'll put, like, a bathroom back here, just butting up to the jaguar habitat. Because I think... underwater viewing is a really cool thing for predatory cats. And I think jaguars... do jaguars need deep dive? Jaguar. I need some water, not necessarily needing the deep dive. So we will flatten the foundation here. Okay, so let's see, because that is getting a little laggy. OBS, you didn't crash on me, did you? No, you seem to still be running. Like, we have 1702 guests. So it shouldn't be too hard to do some water here. Okay, that gives that section some little spots. This gives a little spot for the bush dogs to have some visibility and some more dry land. Which we should be good. Let's take a look. Because, like, these guys are just the cutest little guys in the game. Up to 11 males, up to 11 females. We can have a pretty big group of them. They don't particularly need any deep dive, but I gave them plenty just in case they wanted it. Because they're good boys, and I won't make them choose. Though I think what we're going to do for them is we're going to do what we did over here. Hi, Clementine. How are you doing? I'm glad to hear you're still talking with me, Clementine. We got a couple of people with us. It's going good. But I think, honestly, I'm starting to feel the focus fade here. Like, we've got enough planned out here that we should be fine. I'll do some terrain painting to make this all rock in here, because it's a good place to make this rock. What we'll do is we'll make a little like building. Yeah, I don't know what these people are running down here for. There's not a whole lot of nothing that way. But yeah, I think we've got ourselves a pretty good start to the Viva Pantanal area. So tune in next week. Probably Sunday. If Saturday works, I may talk. I have a game I run every other Saturday. I may just move the Sunday streams to Saturday evenings. And then we'll be working on building up for probably the bush dog, the jaguar, and our other fellows here at Viva Pantanal. Now let's go find someone to raid, because that's half of the fun here. Who is streaming? Let's see. There's about 3 of us, so it won't be a terribly big thing. I don't know who's currently present. Does anybody have a preference if they a big streamer or a small streamer? Actually, let's go right. So there's this artist I've been following. He's young, but he does really nice, gory stuff. Gross, grotesque things. And he seems to be doing pretty good on that. He's a younger guy, but he's got a bass that makes me almost slightly jealous. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and let's raid a art person who ready to go see it. Make sure the raid gets over there.